Away from that, the Nigeria police claim they have not been served with an order of the Federal High Court stopping the enforcement of tinted glass permits. Force Public Relations Officer CSP Benjamin Hundayan disclosed this on Saturday while reacting to reports that the court had restrained the police from arresting or prosecuting motorists over tinted glasses. The court order directed the police to maintain status quo, halting any action against motorists until the matter is concluded. The clarification followed claims by human rights lawyer Inibehe Effiong, who had circulated a portion of the ruling restraining the police from enforcing the regulation. In April 2023, the police announced the resumption of the permit scheme under the Police Specialized Services Automation Project after suspending it in 2022. Meanwhile, officers of the Lagos State Police Command have commenced the enforcement of tinted glass permits for motorists across the state. In some parts of Lagos, officers could be seen stopping vehicles with tinted windows and requesting that they show their valid permits. The deadline for motorists with tinted glasses to get a permit was moved from August to the 2nd of October this year, with the expiration of the deadline. The police are now out to enforce compliance. According to the Lagos Commissioner of Police, Olohundare Jimo, motorists should follow the due process and do the needful, as offenders will be prosecuted.
Enforcement of the tinted glass permit across Lagos State, and this is one of the points that I visited today. I visited quite a number of other places yesterday, and I'm still going around today. But at this point, the level of compliance in Lagos State is high compared to what they may have in other states. From the report I'm getting, quite a number of citizens of Lagos have complied, and very few that have not complied are in the process of complying with the enforcement. So we want members of the public not to have any fear or apprehension to go and comply. The system is open. The site where they can apply, they should apply online, then they pay online and wait for capturing in the command headquarters or other information in Lagos that have been provided for their capturing. A lot of people have complied, and for those, they've been advised on what to do, and they'll do so promptly. But for those...
Joining us to discuss more on this is a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, Taiwo Ojumo. Good afternoon, Mr. Taiwo.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get into it. Under what legal authority did the Nigeria Police Force originally enforce the tinted glass permit regulation?
Thank you very much for having me once again. As far as I know, and as far as I can tell, the legal backing, the extant law on that is an act made in 1991. That is the Motor Vehicles Prohibition of Tinted Glass Act of 1991. Which a lot of people have argued that is outdated, and that there's an urgent need for some reforms and amendment of that act. But as it stands now, that is the act that is extant, and that is the act that I believe that is the act on which the PFN, Nigerian Police Force, has premised this policy, this prohibition of tinted glass policy.
All right, so would you say that the enforcement of the tinted glass permit violates citizens' rights under the Nigerian Constitution? That is particularly Section 37 and 41, and it's on privacy and freedom of movement. What would you say to this?
Well, the thing is that the argument is neither here nor there. It depends on the angle from which one is arguing from. If you argue from the angle of citizens, of course, of some sort, the problem with Nigeria is not the absence of laws. I've said this severally, it is our propensity sometimes for excessiveness. I feel like ideally the law, there's nothing bad about that law, particularly because of the intention. The intention is to curb potential criminal elements who may hide behind, who may try to evade justice and arrest or detection behind vehicles that are tinted. But like I said earlier, the propensity of an average Nigerian, with all due respect to Nigerians, including myself, to the propensity to be excessive when it comes to implementing laws and laws. Otherwise, our police, we've seen instances where police officers will go beyond their brief, and then we've seen instances of harassment on citizens, Yes, and to that extent, one can argue that it could, if it's not well implemented, if it's not properly implemented with the rights of citizens in mind, it might actually amount to some gross violation of people's right to privacy and movements. Yes, it might, but ideally, the law does not necessarily violate human rights of any sort.
All right, so can a law enforcement agency like the Nigeria Police Force create or enforce regulations without legislative backing or proper administrative procedure?
Well, like I said again, it will depend. Ideally, there's a law, yes, and the law exists, and the law, of course, the Nigerian Police Force is the agency in charge of implementing some laws. But in the long run, this agency cannot work alone. There have to be some kind of handshake between the legislature, the other agencies. So yes, while the police can on its own implement the laws, the laws of the land, but they must also work in hand with other agencies. Other agencies like judiciary and the like. Yes, but they can. The law is very clear. If a law prohibits something, the appropriate authority or agency to implement such is the police, bearing other recommendations by the law.
All right, so what is the legal consequence for citizens who were penalized under the now suspended enforcement? Are they entitled to restitution or redress?
Yes, the appropriate way to go, if a citizen feels that his rights have been violated, he can approach the court of competent jurisdiction and contest such a violation of rights. Instances abound where citizens felt that their rights to movement, to privacy, and of course to association were violated by the Nigerian police, and they went to court, and lo and behold, they got justice. So yes, the way to go is to approach a court of competent jurisdiction to pursue your rights if you have a reason to believe that such rights have been violated.
All right, thank you very much for your input. The issue of car permits has been a bone of contention between Nigerian citizens and the Nigerian Police Force. So thank you so much for that legal clarity and your stance on the subject matter.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.